Well, good afternoon. This is Jim White here at All Power Group. Today we're going to talk about Whiskers and Buster. Now, as you probably might guess, this is an animal story, but it's not just a general animal story. It's telling in the sense that Whiskers tricked Buster. And I'm going to get into that. Anyway, thank you for being here. Whiskers, a cat of discerning taste and even more discerning naps, surveyed his domain from the sunniest spot on the Persian rug. Across the room, Buster, a golden retriever whose enthusiasm for life often outstripped his common sense. He was attempting to chew his own tail. Again, I'm sorry. Anyway. Honestly, Buster, Whiskers meowed. A sound that usually went ignored. You would think after 3 years you'd realize, Buster, that your tail is permanently attached. So there is poor Buster saying, "Oh, you think you're so smart? Do you have a tail? I never see you looking for it." But anyway, that's the way it goes. So anyway, Buster started to wound himself and thumped his tail against the floor. That's just kind of making sure, yeah, you're right. It is mine, and it's part of that. It's part of me. Thump, thump, thump. Just checking. He barked, his tail wagging so hard his entire rear end wiggled. You never know when a good chew toy might sprout out of nowhere. Okay, so Whiskers rolled his eyes, or at least he would have it if he wasn't so comfortable. The human Sarah had just introduced a new enrichment toy for Buster, a giant squeaky rubber chicken. We've always wanted rubber chickens, right? Buster was utterly smitten. He carried it everywhere and even to his water bowl, resulting in a perpetually soggy fowl. I guess he felt, hey, this is a good idea. One afternoon, Whiskers was enjoying a particularly vivid dream of an entire flock of laser pointers when he was rudely awakened by deafening squeak. He blinked, then blinked again. Buster was standing over him, with the rubber ducky dangling precariously close to Whiskers' nose. Now, Whiskers is saying, hey, I didn't sign up for this. Anyway. Look, Whiskers, Buster panted, his tail a blur. Henrietta, which is the chicken, wants to play. Whiskers stared at the yellow monstrosity. Henrietta apparently smelled faintly of slobber and desperation. Henrietta, he said slowly, looks like she needs a bath and possibly a professional intervention. You know, God bless Buster. He's just kind of going along for the ride, and Whiskers is the boss. Buster, oblivious, nudged Henrietta closer. She says, "You're being a grumpy Gus." Whiskers, a master of passive aggression, simply extended a paw and with exquisite slowness pushed Henrietta off the rug. I know you're saying, how'd you get these guys to do all these little tricks? Well, it's kind of a secret. But anyway, she landed with a pathetic, deflated squeak. So, you can see that Buster's thinking this is the best thing from sliced bread. And Whiskers is saying, oh, get me out of here. Anyway, Buster gasped. You swatted Henrietta. Whiskers began meticulously grooming a paw. She was encroaching on my personal space, and frankly, her incessant chirping was disturbing me aesthetically. So as you can see, as we've built the momentum here of this phenomenal story, Buster loves the toy. Whiskers saying, I don't love this toy. I have my own toys. Anyway, the next day, Whiskers found his favorite sunbeam occupied by Henrietta. But Buster had carefully placed her in the prime napping spot, her beady eyes staring triumphantly at Whiskers. So you can see that poor Whiskers is saying, wait a minute, I got up, I had a good night's sleep, but now I want to sleep again. And I want to sleep where I usually sleep, which is in the sun. And you, Buster, have put Henrietta in my favorite spot. Not good idea. This was war. And I know you're probably saying, boy, poor people, right? Whiskers, being a cat, knew that direct confrontation was for amateurs. So I'm telling you, Whiskers has this all figured out. He waited and waited. Finally, Buster trotted into the kitchen for a snack. This was Whiskers' chance. As you can see, Whiskers watching Buster go into the kitchen and saying, hey, I'm alone with this stupid rubber chicken. Anyway, Whisker approached Henrietta. She lay there mocking him with her rubbery grin. Whiskers sniffed her disdainfully, then with a mischievous glint in his eye, he began to bat her. Not hard, just enough to send her wobbling. Then he pounced, pinning her to the floor, and started to lick her long, thorough, disgustingly slobbery licks. And again, the cat is winning this. If you were keeping score, anyway, Whiskers is saying, I'm gonna make this thing not very appetizing. So when Buster returned, he found Whiskers meticulously bathing Henrietta, purring loudly. Henrietta was now glistening with cat spit. I know you were saying, I would like that, huh? Well, Buster stared, utterly bewildered. Whiskers What are you doing? Whiskers looked up a picture of innocent contentment. Oh, just making sure Henrietta is properly moisturized. He purred, giving the chicken another vigorous lick. She looked at it a bit dry. Buster slowly backed away, a look of profound confusion on his face. He spent the rest of the day hiding Henrietta under his bed, emerging only periodically to sniff her and make sure she hadn't spontaneously combusted from excessive feline affection. From that day on, Whiskers never had to worry about Henrietta again. In other words, she made it bad. She made it where Buster just said, look, you have no right, you have no responsibility to help me with Henrietta, so I'm going to hide Henrietta. Now, the moral of the story is, of course, Buster's maybe thinking, hey, I hit it, I smarted her out. But the real profound lesson here is that Whiskers just made it so that it appeared she really wanted this toy, but really didn't, and wanted to get rid of it. So the most hilarious victories are won with a little strategic slobber. Now, you are going to be tested on this. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little discussion about Whiskers, Buster, and the rubber chicken. Anyway, thank you for being here. I know every once in a while we need some comic relief. And yes, my next presentation is going to be a little bit of what I call politics in the middle. So we're going to do a double header, but what I'll be doing is just coming off this particular project and getting the next one ready for you. So thank you for being here. And please subscribe. You know, it always helps the channel. And I'm not getting younger, so any support is appreciated. And thank you, Gangster. Hey, hi there. I'm only watching this, so, well, I'm glad you're watching it. And thank you very much. You know, again, with any of the presentations we do, it's so much appreciated when someone comes on and, you know, either says, hey, I like it, and leaves a little comment. It really, really is appreciated. Now, you're a gangster Naparot. The interesting thing I find when I do have folks come on to the channel and chat, I probably always mess up their name, and or I'm always not exactly sure the I guess the meaning of their title, but it doesn't make any difference. Gangster, if you're a gangster, welcome. If you're a gangster, welcome again. So anyway, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Next one's going to come up, and appreciate it. Thank you. Be well.